This is another purchase from, I think it was Mercari actually. I found a seller who was selling an almost full bottle, I think it's like 90% full, of Jasmin Noir by Bulgari. I'm a big fan, big fan. This is one of these skin thick jasmine, almost like the consistency of this perfume, despite it being sitting close to the skin, is very dense. I would say, like, if you think about, some perfumes are more like arrows, they just shoot out. Some perfumes, like florals, are kind of like, I don't know, they're like smoke. They float around. Some perfumes are more like powder or fog and they sit around you. Some perfumes are denser like a souffle. This is almost a density of honey, yet it's a nude perfume. It sits like this. Like it's so close to the skin, but yet it is so comfortable and seductive. This is the most skin musky, quietly seductive Jasmin that I've probably ever tried. Again, Jasmin is one of those notes that is very versatile. It can twist in combination with other notes in a myriad different ways. This is the one that's just iconic, and I wanted it in my library. I really wanted to have it because this is like a chapter. I think it's a chapter in the 21st century perfumes. I mean, actually, it was, I think, when was it? It was indeed issued at 2008. I think it's really iconic to the beginning of 21st century. I think it will be remembered through the decades, and I think it will be speculated on. Like a lot of the themes will come back to this. What kind of family of perfumes Jasmin Noir represents, if not already, but very soon. Because again, now everybody talks about millennials. It's like, oh, what do millennials like? Oh, how to get into the pocket of millennials. This is very millennial in the sense that it's non-offensive, but it is quiet, nerdy, almost seductiveness. This like a quiet girl who has like, I don't know, hell angels inside of her. It's amazing. So I had to have it. I don't know if I will wear it very often, but I just need to touch it. I need to touch it. I need to spray it. I need to come back to it every once in a while. You don't have to. Again, I'm not encouraging consumerism. I'm just sharing, what resonates with me. Alright, another one that I got to try from a friend is Dior Addict Eau de Toilette. It's not the first time when I'm trying to become friends with Dior perfumes, and it's just not working out. I feel like the only thing that I haven't tried yet is they are kind of like vintage shipper. So Miss Dior, but like a vintage style. It's very tedious to find vintage perfumes in good shape. So, but everything that I tried from Dior, including Dior Addict EDT, it's just disappointing. It's like this unrecognizable generic luxe base. It's so synthetic, it's blended beyond recognition of any notes. This is epitome of what Vogue magazine smells like. I can't tell what it is. It doesn't take me anywhere. I mean, if you're into this kind of thing, if you really want to feel like you're sitting at home flipping through a Vogue magazine, life is beautiful, and all you have to do is homework for your next class, at university. Kind of feel like a bachelorette life again, maybe. But otherwise, it's kind of like old luxe, you know? It's I don't think it aged well, to be honest. At this point, it's not deep or interesting like niche perfumes are, but it's not as modern in terms of the contemporary liquid sugar chemistry that goes into the perfumes. It's just like a 40-year-old person who still dresses like they did when they were 20. I'm sorry, I'm like shitting on a perfume that is loved by so many people. Don't mean to, but I think I'll return it to my friend. It's just does nothing for me, to be honest. If I wanted something seductively flirtatious, sweet, sugary, I would go for like one of the modern releases because the packaging is so interesting these days. Take Lancome Idole, you know, perfume itself is nothing, but packaging is amazing. It seems like that's the trend with a lot of the luxe perfumes these days. But then you can try something new and really beautiful, very contemporary packaging, and like kind of use it and forget about it. This is not cheap. Dior perfumes, similar to Chanel, are not cheap, but it's just, to me, it smells dated. To me, it smells like old, old glamour. The glamour that's about to retire and still like things, that the times hasn't changed. I just there's something about it that to me smells outdated. Sorry. Next one, just to contradict myself, right? Like it's all for your entertainment. Actually, there's nothing wrong with being outdated or liking something that's not from this time. Even the whole notion of outdated is so subjective, so don't take it seriously. We're all gonna be there. We'll have our kind of like, our nostalgic memories, and so happens that like I don't really have any sentiment toward this kind of era of scents, but somebody does, and if you do, enjoy it. This is an oldie. Talking about outdated, I was so curious that I decided to give it a go. Another cult, this one is from the end of the 20th century. So weird to say it, isn't it? Last century. So yeah, last century, the end of last century was really, really known by Cacharel fragrances because Cacharel, I'm not sure how to exactly pronounce it because it seems like it's French, but is it? Eden. Look at the packaging though. The illustration on it is just superb. So Eden is supposed to be this luscious, tropical, wet, almost Amazonian kind of garden. Packaging is very, very 80s, don't you think? They didn't change it through the years, and I'm amazed that this fragrance is still around. There's so many fragrances that are being reformulated and taken off the shelves that it's truly a gift to find that some old formulas, even though they do change them and update them according to the modern restrictions that we have for the ingredients, they still manage to preserve their original character, to keep it there, even if some unavoidable changes have to happen, or if they want to modernize it to make it a little bit more palatable to, yes, the millennial crowd. Guerlain did a lot of work with their perfumes. Some of them reformulations have had more successful than the others, and here is Cacharel with their renovated version of Eden. Oh, you see, this is the kind of like oldie but goodie smell that I love. I'm not a big fan of Chanel No. 5 and this kind of like aldehyde families that, to me, we'll see what I say when I'm 50 or 60, but to me they just make everyone smell older than they are. And it doesn't matter how old you actually are. They just like add some kind of emotional age to people. Just in my humble opinion, if you like Chanel No. 5, use it, enjoy it. But this is the kind of old that you can unmistakably sense the sort of the nod to the vintage, to the 80s, to the old times, maybe even like earlier than 80s. I need to look it up when it was originally issued. It's heavy, it's wet, it's kind of, I want to say musky, but it's not the familiar suspects here. It was issued in 1994, not 80s, but actually typical 90s. Probably makes sense now. Because this is the kind of perfume that I feel is one of those monochord, not that they don't have several notes in them, but it's kind of like the way that it progresses is always the same. It just like starts with a very specific read in my nose, and it stays the same. It just quiets down mostly. It doesn't really change. There's no like opening card and ending. It's kind of like monolithic, and it just gets quieter and quieter with time. So what we have here is tuberose. Oh, I think that's what gives it such like animalic but flowery heaviness. That's tuberose. But this tuberose, actually, I don't like tuberose. Unfortunately, it gives me migraines. So I must say this particular one is not so heavy on tuberose that I can't wear it. Surprisingly enough, I might not be able to wear it every day, but you know, if you're the same, like if you're like me and you like tuberose is a big no-no for you, this might be the first wearable tuberose scent that I own. It's tuberose, mimosa, jasmine, rose, and lily of the valley. Sweet, juicy fruits, pineapple and melon. The water notes are in the perfect harmony with sharp patchouli, warm, woody base of cedar, sandal, and tonka bean. All of these like descriptions of like deconstruction into notes, obviously, it's just to help us to figure out what something smells like before we actually smell it. That said, I wouldn't say that I feel every note. I think I now understand what is the nature of this animalic heaviness, and I would say these are these white flowers, lily of the valley, that is sweet and honey-like, kind of like heavy white flower, plus the tuberose is the heart of this flowery and animalic heaviness. And overall, it does feel like it's a little bit swampy in a way. It has this kind of like green wetness. However, luckily for me, it doesn't have a distinct patchouli note. Patchouli can also smell in very different ways, but usually a pronounced patchouli note makes a perfume smell more like almost like mold sometimes, you know, like this kind of soil-like, wet, mossy kind of scent. It's very close to nature. It makes you feel of like wet soil sometimes. And patchouli also, modern patchouli, the one that you can find in modern shipper like Chloe Nomad and like others, synthetic, very, very, very cleaned and distilled, and it's almost just, it just gives some sharpness or tartiness to smells. And there's a very rare kind of patchouli, very hard to find, very hard to formulate for whatever reason, I don't know, but it's very hard to find for me, is the chocolate patchouli. I happen to have one fragrance that is perfect dark chocolate gourmand patchouli. It's amazing. But we'll talk about it some other time. If you want, leave a comment. Talking about patchouli here, I don't even smell it as much. Maybe that's how it contributes to the greeny wetness of the smell. But otherwise, it's heavy, it's full, it's a little bit kind of like it pushes you down a little bit. At the same time, it has a little bit of this wet swampiness character to it. I love it. It's very atmospheric. I wouldn't say it's super wearable. At least in the modern times, I think might be much for an office environment. It kind of depends how you use it maybe and how it sits on your skin. But that's one of those things that you just want to live in. Like I want to spray it around and, you know, watch some fantasy movies about mermaids, or I don't know, some kind of tropical lusciousness. It's really, really good. That's oldie but a goodie for sure. So this was a recommendation. I just had to buy it. This is Michael Kors Sky Blossom. And I'm sure you know, if you're watching this video, who recommended it. Yes, yes, yes. Beauty Mel. Her channel, oh, I'm such a big fan. Mwah. It's so, the way she speaks, the way she finds these allegories and comparisons, it's like a melody. It's like music to hear her talk about perfumes. And when she said that Sky Blossom by Michael Kors was like a super surprise favorite from a huge line of luxe perfumes that, you know, people who are a little bit more already into niche perfumery, we often kind of like look down and become a bit too like done this, done that. It's hard to be surprised by mainstream releases. But she said that she completely fell in love with it, highly recommended it, and her descriptions were so mouth-watery that I had to have it. So I found it with like a reasonable discount. I think it was actually Nordstrom Rack where I got it. And I got myself 30 milliliters. First of all, I really like the form factor of it, to be honest. Like, it's a perfect little, it's not cute, but you know. Oh, isn't it cute? It's like the glass is slightly yellow on the bottom, which gives it kind of this yellow flare, but the liquid, as far as I understand, yeah, the liquid is light blue. It's really stylish. It's beautiful. The bottle itself, like everything about it is so well thought through. 5 out of 5 by packaging. Let's see what we think about the smell. Alright, okay. I think I get it. There's some zestiness and citrusy freshness that is not new. Alright, so I wouldn't say that this is like eye-opening moment, but I think I get what she was talking about. It's such a well-forgotten, flowery, this like with the best of this luxe zestiness that comes from like these luxe, well blended, can't really tell what notes in there, kind of floral sweetness with added refreshing bergamot and citrus. It's both powerfully, luxuriously floral, just like what you expect, right, from the modern luxe houses, but with this kind of like zesty, refreshing twist that is very mouth-watering. It makes me think of those fusion-like cocktails when it's not a mojito, but it's already but it's not a tropical cocktail either. When they start combining, you know, when they make these custom mojitos, they take one, like for example, I don't know, take like any tropical fruit like papaya or passion fruit or mango or kiwi and make a mojito with that flavor. That's what it makes me think of. It's just right mix of things that I feel like the luxe industry has well forgotten. So this is really nice to go back to that. It's almost like after so many disappointing and blah liquid sugar releases, this comes along and it's like, yeah, this is what luxe perfumery used to be about. This is what we fell in love with originally when we're talking about, when we were like flipping through Vogue, when we were going to Sephora or Nordstrom or Macy's, you know, when we're saving money or getting a perfume bottle. It was like a big deal to receive a luxe perfume, designer perfume bottle for your birthday or Christmas. It was valuable, right? It counted for something. Like owning your favorite bottle of perfume was a statement. It was really valuable possession. It was just not one of 1,000, right? Like one of many. They're like, I don't know what it is. I just grabbed something. It really meant something. And yet, these perfumes were they had enough character, but yet they were mainstream enough that many women could find them appealing. I really hope the luxe industry can go back to that, because I think we're a little bit losing our mojo here with the recent releases. And I think Sky Blossom, Michael Collins brought it back. He brought the sexy back, man. I do like it. Would I buy it full price? I don't know. Is it better that some of the niche perfumes in the similar family? Don't think so. But again, considerably. This is available everywhere. I even found it with a discount. It is a well-known luxury house, right? Like, there's like nothing controversial about the packaging. Is 5 out of 5. This is like the glamour as we know it. It's like, bring 2010 back, man. This is it. This is so good. Love it. Love it for what it represents, for how it's made, and how comfortable with a little bit of flirtations and zestiness it is. Is it, again, if you're like really spoiled and you're a perfume snob, this is not a masterpiece. But this is something that you can recommend to people who don't know anything about perfumes, and you can still feel proud that you recommended them something good, you know? All right, we're getting close to the end. A few other very affordable luxe designer perfumes that I found is, as far as I know, that's an oldie from the house Oscar de la Renta. By the way, what happened with Oscar de la Renta? They used to make iconic, great perfumes, but somehow they couldn't quite jump on the same wave as the rest of them. So really undervalued now, I would say. So I have a few perfumes from Oscar de la Renta in my collection. We can talk about them later. It was a blind purchase. It was really cheap, and I just like, let's see what it is. Not a good idea, really. Don't recommend it, because that was a huge flop. The perfume is called Something Gold. So I think they released, it's like for bridal collection, something blue. This was Something Gold. There's a all gold bottle. Not the biggest fan of the form factor here. Fine, it's okay. Most of the bottles in Oscar de la Renta range, they have some kind of like jewelry, quote unquote. I mean, this is not something you want to wear, so we're gonna leave it there. Okay, I thought Oscar de la Renta, like, I'm a big fan of like Esprit d'Oscar, of some of like other really cheapy, kind of like flowery perfumes that they have. So this is gonna be good. There's probably their take on gold. It's gonna be luxurious. It's gonna be a little bit over top feminine. And what do we get? I swear to God, all I feel is this typical like Victoria's Secret, Midnight Fantasy, Britney Spears, Poison Girl, Olivia Bell, yada yada yada, like a legion of liquid sugar perfumes. This is just this uncertain, synthetic, sweet smells. It's like, is it caramel? Is it marshmallow? Is it just plain sugar? I don't know. It's just nothing to write home about. That said, oddly enough, I kind of fell in love with spraying sweet, this gourmandy, like modern synthetic gourmandy perfumes in the shower, when I take a shower. I don't know, it just like makes me feel kind of like uplifted and girly when I'm taking a shower and I smell this kind of sugary sweetness. But to be honest, that's not my thing. I can't wear that on me. I just don't relate to this kind of smells as an individual personal perfume. But there's nothing atrocious about it either. It's just nothing that you couldn't find elsewhere. If you're just looking for like a replacement for Midnight Fantasy, I think they're probably about the same price. I just can't really recommend it, to be honest, because I can't find anything definitional, you know, to even remember that it exists. So for me, it's a flop. And the last one, which was also a blind buy, but this time I scored. This is Lolita Lempicka, and this is their perfume that's called El Lime, I think. That's the one that looks like a column, like it's like this kind of gold graffiti over, you'll see. Yeah, that's the bottle. They have like a few flankers for it, but I think this is the original. El Lame by Lolita Lempicka. So, okay, why this one? A blind purchase, because many of you maybe know it, maybe many of you don't. It's really cheap. Lolita Lempicka, very hard to find in like brick and mortar stores, but easily accessible online. It usually costs, I don't know, 20 bucks maybe. But its claim to fame is that this is a replacement for Bronze Goddess by Estee Lauder. And with it, kind of like a younger floral sister of Noir Crystal by Versace. So a lot of people who want a sweet but not screaming, kind of like sweet, seductive coconut, go for either Bronze Goddess by Estee Lauder, or for its a little bit more flirtatious version. I would say like Bronze Goddess is a little bit more run-the-mill kind of coconut perfume, and Crystal Noir has its ardent fans and some people who for whom it smells more like cucumbers a little bit. You know, like that coconut smell can sometimes twist on you and go not in the direction you want. So with Crystal Noir, you know, as more interesting it is than Bronze Goddess, it also can sit on you in a peculiar way. So Lolita Lempicka El Lime, I don't know. You see how it looks like. And again, I'll have all of the names below written in the description. Its claim to fame is that, you know, I can give you both. I can give you both for much cheaper price and without any kind of like unwanted migration of the notes. I wouldn't say that it's a replacement for neither, because it's way more flowery. So yes, you can smell here coconut, but you can also smell here the very typical kind of like your fruity shampoo presence that in my mind takes it away from seductiveness and more toward just beach vacation, you know, just bright, like, you know, big hat, bright mix and match swimwear, you know, something not expensive but fun, carefree, a little bit of coconut, a little bit of other fruits, maybe a little bit of pineapple, but it's very young and very simple in that sense. I think it really lacks that seductiveness that Bronze Goddess and Crystal Noir have. And that kind of depends, what are you going for? If you always dreamt about having this coconutty, tropical, light, positive, optimistic perfume, you actually don't want to go there. You don't want to go animalistic. You don't need any musks. You don't need any like coconut turning cucumbers. You just want summer, the essence of a summer vacation. Then Lolita Lempicka Lame is a perfect candidate. It's cheap, it's fun, the packaging is pretty interesting, you know. Everything is great about it, and it's not as of a cliche choice as many others that are like on the market from the Body Shop or, you know, Victoria's Secret or any of those generic kind of $10 body sprays that you can buy. Is it seductive? Sophisticated? No, that's not here. That probably is Crystal Noir as a better candidate for that. So yeah, if you know of any other coconut heavy perfumes that you find to be way more sophisticated than, you know, typical body spray, let me know. I'm actually very curious. It seems that the coconut as a note is way more represented in the kind of like budget and luxe, you know, like sort of middle and upper middle market pricing, rather than niche or, you know, more complex compositions, so to speak. So I'm curious if it really exists beyond, you know, the SPF cream kind of family of perfumes. Alright, so this is it. This is all the perfumes that I got for you from sort of the budget and the luxe category. No niche here, but some of the perfumes that you see, like some of them are new, some of them are good, oldie but goodie, some of them are must-have, some of them are just disappointing flops. Let me know what you thought of those if you had them. Any kind of purchases that you made recently, what kind of perfumes are in your wardrobe all the time, what kind of things you're obsessing about, let me know in the comments. If you like the video, please subscribe, please give it a like, help me grow my channel. It's very early stages for me, so a lot to learn, a lot to improve. I hope we can go through this journey together. I'll see you soon in a new video, and till then, just take care and love your perfumes. Bye bye.